You're now tuning into the Who and How Club with your host, Arys Dejan.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Who and How Club. It's your boy Arys Dejan, your host. You guys know the slogan, you are the Who and How, I am the Who and How, we are the Who and Hows of this world. And without you, without me, there is no we. So I am just checking in on this Friday afternoon. I'm actually using my phone to record this because I just wanted to do a quick upload and a quick check-in with you guys and girls, just so we can, have our weekly episode. I'm still vibing off of the high of the last episode 31, Barbershop Talk, where I sat down with the barbers of Trendy Barbershop, and it was really dope. And I was contemplating on whether or not I should even release an episode this week, and because I just wanted to continue to promote the visuals for that episode and the audio and stuff like that. We've been getting a lot of love, a lot of followers, a lot of supporters from the shop and support from the shop itself because, they're playing the episode in the shop. People are coming through and just getting familiar with the Who and How Club in that conversation. And it was just a really dope vibe and fun conversation for me because prior to that, I don't think I've had that many people on one show before. So it was cool to just have that energy and those perspectives all in one room on one episode. It was a long episode and I didn't get a chance to cover everything. And you hardly do in moments like that when there are so many personalities, other things come up and the vibe is just different, so you're really just going based off of that. So I really enjoyed that episode. I was happy that I got a chance to do that. I thank the universe for that. I thank the barbers. Shout them out. I visited the shop this week. If you look online, on the website and on social media platforms at Who How Club, you'll see like the post of the episode being played in the video. So not in the video, in the shop. So just follow me on all social media platforms at Only One Arys, ONLY, the number 1, ARYS, and of course at Who How Club on all social media platforms. And you can listen to the show on all podcast streaming platforms as well. What else did I want to tell you? whohowclub.com is the website, guys. We've also introduced a new Be a Guest form so that for those, we've been getting a lot of requests for people wanting to be a guest on the show and wanting to connect with us. So I've had to create like a new way for people to submit. So if you go to the website, whohowclub.com, there's a Be a Guest tab. You click on that, it'll bring you to the page where you could fill out the form. And it's not like it's very simple, but the questions that I ask are sort of deep, not so straightforward. Like I really want to know about you before, I want to know why you want to come on the show. I want to know how you define yourself. I want to know how you would answer the question, who are you? I want you to follow the socials as well so we could follow back and, get a feel of what you do and figure out how you define what you do. So you got to fill those things out and then I'll reach out to you and schedule some stuff. Now, we do have some guests scheduled and I'm really excited for this. So I'm going to be announcing that very soon. We haven't done any promo reads in a few episodes just because, things have been busy. I've been also trying to connect with some other sponsors as well. So I'm just waiting for those things to kick off. But we'll be promoting the good food stuff on the social media platforms this after this weekend. So next week. Trust me, it's not easy running things by yourself. Like you got to shoot visuals yourself. You got to do the editing. You got to remember to promote things. You got to connect with people. You got to just it's not as easy as people might think, especially when you still have like your quote unquote 9 to 5. You know what I mean? But there's no separation from what I do for work and how I express myself artistically. And I've explained this on the show before. You know, this is just pieces of who I am. The work that I do, it makes me who I am. You know, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't enjoy what I did, or if it wasn't a piece of me in some form or fashion. Same with my artistic endeavors. You know, they're all connected in some form or fashion. So even though, yeah, I have a quote unquote 9 to 5, it's not taking away from my art, because that's all intertwined and I find inspiration from both. But, you know, there's just a lot going on, and it is a lot for one person to handle. So I can't wait for the day that I get to that point where, you know, I can have an assistant, I can have an official co-host, or someone who gets this movement, or, you know, I'm on a network, or I don't know, where we get to that level where I don't have to do these things on my own anymore. Someone else could come through and do the visuals. Someone else can, you know, take care of the editing and posting, making sure everything's on all the platforms, stuff like that. So, you know, scheduling guests even. I'm excited for that time in life when we bring the show to a different level. And, you know, I want to shout all of the listeners and supporters out, because without your support and your continuous listening and downloads and comments and ratings, I mean, the show wouldn't be at the level that it's at today. You know, separate from the universe and the gods above and the podcast gods, it's you guys that have helped the show get to the point that it's at. And I got a lot of good news coming, so I'm excited to share. And go back to listen to past episodes to really figure out how far we've come and the amount of progress we've made. I'm not going to shy away from bigging us up about that stuff, you know? Like, you have to commend yourself. If you don't, no one else will. So, again, thank you to all. Thank you to me. And thank you to, you know, the podcast gods for guiding the show and this movement. You know, where we're at with coronavirus, it doesn't seem like our event series is going to be returning anytime soon, because they've done a second closure of like gyms, bars, movie theaters, etc. And that's a component to the show that I miss having, you know, having Rampage every 2 Tuesdays, bi-weekly, where everybody would come and sit down and talk and connect in person. That was that component that really, it was really bringing the show and the movement to a different level. And it's sad that we can't do that at the moment, but hey, you know, I do believe things will work out very soon. And, you know, there are much worse things to worry about right now. And I think safety is a big concern for all of us. So even if it means we have to sacrifice the things we love doing, the environments we loved being in, you know, we have to sacrifice. We have to play it safe right now, or else those numbers will go up. And in the city, in Canada, in Toronto, the numbers have been increasing. Not drastically, you know, but that's not going to take away from those people who have had those cases. We haven't had many deaths in this second wave, thankfully, but we all called it. We knew a second wave was coming. Anyway, stay safe out there. Continue to be safe. Sacrifice those things you love and the places you love being in. Don't sacrifice the people you love the most, because they are the ones that'll be affected if you don't, you know, practice social distancing and and staying inside and all that jazz. You know what I mean? Go to work, go home, and just isolate for now until they tell us it's safe. What else do I want to talk to you guys about? Thanksgiving. It was Canada's Thanksgiving this past long weekend. I'm on Friday right now, so obviously the long weekend has passed, but, you know, shout out to everybody who celebrated and who spent some time with family. I got a wild story for all of you guys, man, for my Thanksgiving. Believe it or not, like this year, the truth of the matter is this year, Corona aside, has just been a crazy year for everyone. You know, things have happened this year that you never thought would actually happen, and it's crazy. But a little story that I wanted to share with you guys is that I was in the hospital once again. If you remember a couple episodes ago, I shared my injury story about being in the hospital, having my first injury in my entire life, and having that visit to the hospital in less than a couple months. I'm at the hospital. I'm at the hospital again, and it's on Thanksgiving night. Just never thought that this would happen to me. You know what I mean? Like being at the hospital twice in such a short period of time. I've been at the hospital more times than in my entire life in the past couple months. So, I went to the family's house on Thanksgiving Monday, because we tend to celebrate on the actual Monday. I don't know if Thanksgiving's actually on the Sunday or the Monday. I think it's the Sunday, but the family and I, we celebrate on the Monday. We used to do it on the Sundays, just so we could have Monday free, but this year we did it on the Monday. So I'm around the dinner table, of course, with my family, my aunts, my uncle, my cousins, my second cousins, and my one aunt. And, we're having a good time. We're laughing, we're telling stories as we usually do. And it wasn't even like 30 minutes into the meal. It seems as if like my body sort of like clenched up. And all I could remember is like being overjoyed with like the energy in the room and the laughter and being so happy and all of that jazz. But there was a moment where like all of that stopped for me and I couldn't control my body. Now I could control my eyes. I was looking at people around the table, but everyone noticed that I had stopped laughing and they couldn't tell what was going on with me. They thought I was joking. They thought, like Arys was about to say something funny or something, but I thought maybe I was having a seizure or something like that. I don't know what occurred or what was occurring in that moment. All I know is that I kind of clenched up, seized up. I couldn't move. My aunt got off the table to check up on me like, hey, Arys, what's going on? And just picture like someone speaking with you and asking you questions, but you cannot answer as much as you want to answer and force your voice. You can't respond to them. I've had dreams where it's been like that, where you're trying to speak, but there's no voice. Well, I couldn't even move my mouth in this moment, in this instance. So, I'm looking up at my aunt. I'm sitting on the chair. She's standing above me like, Arys, what's going on? What's going on? And I can't respond to my aunt. All of a sudden, my eyes flood with tears. And I couldn't do anything. My arms started to become numb. I almost fell off the table. So my aunt and my uncle grabbed me and brought me to the floor, and they didn't know what was going on. And I was forcing my voice out to explain, like, I can't move. And I just started crying, and like my heart was pounding fast. Like when I say fast, the fastest it's ever pounded, it's ever beat. Like it was just going so fast, and I could feel my heart and my right hand. So many thoughts were going through my mind. Is this a heart attack? Is this a seizure? Is this death? Am I donezo? Is this it? I didn't know. All I knew is that I could hear voices. People who I love are trying to figure out what's going on with me and making sure that I don't close my eyes, because I was closing my eyes at one point. But all I remember is just being like helpless, feeling helpless. I was speechless. I was motionless. I could just move my eyes. I could hear and I could see, but I couldn't respond. And tears are flooding, and I'm just like, finally I could say something. Some words came out, and I was calling out to my uncle. I was saying, Uncle Chris. But I couldn't say anything more. I truly felt like that was the end for me. Like, I don't know what had happened. I don't know if I ate something. I don't know. It seemed like it was just sort of like an anxiety or a panic attack. You know what I mean? My cousins were advised to call the police. My cousins exited the room when this was all going down. I don't think they were able to see me in that type of moment or pain, but my aunt and my uncle were there with me the entire way, and I was grateful for that. Because if something like that had happened when I was by myself, I don't know what the end result would have been. The ambulance came in a jiffy. They came so quick. I don't know if it was quick only in my mind or in that moment, or in actuality they came at the snap of a finger, but it was like they were called and they were there. And one of the paramedics that came in, his name was Mike. I call him Archangel Michael because I just feel like he was there. He really, they attended to me. And one of the paramedics was sort of like a jerk. I've seen this before, even with the clients that I work with in the field that I'm in. It's like paramedics it's like hit and miss. You'll get a really great one, but the partner in crime might be a jerk, an asshole, the way he speaks to the person, how he deals with them or she. It's not really bad customer service skills is what I'm trying to say. So I had one of those, but then I had Archangel Mike on my left. And when Mike saw me, before the paramedics even came in, there was a coldness that hit my heart. I started shivering all of a sudden. My body temperature was very normal before, but when all of this is happening, I'm cold, I'm freezing, my teeth are chattering, and I just became cold. I was freezing. My body temperature just dropped. And I thought this was death. I thought this was something that there was no coming back from. Anyway, fast forward, the paramedics come through. Mike lifts me up, puts me on a chair, wakes me up, snaps me out of it, and checks my heart. My heart was beating. I can't remember what it said, but it was abnormally fast. They got me to calm down. But again, I wasn't able to respond to them right away. I was still just sort of coming back to normal. My temperature was getting back to normal. I was able to respond, shake my head and stuff like that, but I couldn't speak. I couldn't vocalize what I wanted to say or how I was feeling. So they took me on a stretcher. Now, this was a first for me. They put me on a stretcher. They put me into the back of the paramedics. I've never been into the ambulance. Sorry, that's never happened to me. Being on a stretcher and all that jazz, that was brand new for me. As I'm being brought into the ambulance, though, and being brought off of my aunt's property, I had a crazy deja vu. And I didn't understand. This was something that I had seen before, either dreamt or seen before, you know what I mean? And I truly believe that we are our own fortune tellers, you know what I mean? We see our future. Sometimes we forget our own future, that we've seen it because, it could be in a dream. We dream so many times a night, but we only remember some of those dreams or even just one of those dreams. Some of our dreams are just ongoing throughout the night, and you think it's just the one dream, but there's so many components and scenes, let's say, like a film, we miss some of the scenes. But until it happens in our reality, it's it's like a flash. Your life flashes. And it's you've seen this. And the feeling that I got when I saw that moment, it was you can't think in any other way other than you can't think any other way other than in a way that makes you feel like you're supposed to be there in that moment. This is supposed to happen to you. That's how I feel deja vus, how they operate, what they really mean to us, it's a deja vu is already seen. The translation of it, you've already seen it. You've seen this. What are these flashes? What do they really mean? But we have them, you know what I mean? So, again, Archangel Mike, he rid in the back of in the ambulance with me on my way to Mackenzie Hospital. And him and I were just having a conversation. I finally came back to normal, and he felt like I did have a panic attack. You know what I mean? Like it was just like something where I was just overjoyed. I was actually very happy, and I don't know. I had forgotten that the night before I didn't sleep at all, actually, because I was up editing the visuals for episode 31, Barbershop Talk. I must have slept for like maybe an hour the night before, which was the Sunday night. And then I woke up and, ran errands, got up and got ready for Thanksgiving. Like I never slept. So I think I was on E already, I was running on E. But shout out to Mike over there. Like, he was really supportive. He made me feel comfortable. He didn't make me feel weird about what I had just gone through. He mentioned, like the way he dealt with me, he understood. He had great customer service skills. He stated that, I'm his boss for the night, the taxes that I pay for his job. So he understood the concept of like, he's there to serve me and support me. And be there for me, you know what I mean? So even though it was Thanksgiving, he was in a great mood, and he was very supportive. He made sure that I was taken care of when I got to the hospital, and they checked my heart rate again. They took some blood. But then other things started to creep into my mind, you know what I mean? Prior to Thanksgiving, prior to not sleeping, there were a lot of things that were going on in my mind. I'm an overthinker. I don't know if I've expressed that to any of you on this platform before, but I overthink a lot. I think my mental health has been at risk for a very, very, very long time, because there are some things that I've been through in my life that I just haven't dealt with. I acknowledge the things that I've been through. I'm able to speak about them, but I don't think I've dealt with them. I've suppressed a lot of my emotions. I've been hard on myself. I have played the guilt trip. You know what I mean? I've been guilty. I have felt guilt about things that I've done or things that I've been through, blamed myself for what others have done towards me, or, said about me, or, just that whole being hard on yourself. I went through a crazy relationship that was like on and off for like 6 years. And the way it ended really affected me, because it wasn't the way that I expected it to end. I expected much better, but I do believe that it happened for a reason, and I've been good ever since. Now, something can happen to you in your life and you still be good after that thing, but that doesn't mean you dealt with that thing that happened to you. You haven't addressed anything. You haven't really meditated on your feelings in that situation or how that's affected you. You haven't dissected it, because you're like, all right, I'm going to brush it off. I've survived 100 other things. I'm going to survive this. But then there's a point in time that comes that you don't want to survive anymore. You want to live. You want to live through. You don't want to just survive turmoil or the pain. You don't want to survive from the pain. You want to deal with that pain. You want to free yourself from that pain, that hurt, those disappointments, that information, that news that comes to you, and you're just sick in your stomach. Like, you're like, what? You know what I mean? There are things that us as people, we have our limits. And there's only so much we could take in. It's like a cup overflowing. That cup's going to overflow no matter how big that glass is. You keep pouring into it, it's going to overflow. At some point, you want to drink a little bit. You want to drink it. Drink that water that's filling up in that glass so that you can have more room for more. And that more doesn't necessarily mean bad stuff, pain. You're going to experience great stuff too, but also, how do you make room for any type of balance? You know what I mean? Like, when it hits that top of the glass, the rim of the glass, there's that balance. Once it overflows, it means there's too much of something happening in your life that you're not dealing with. You're not being able to drink and internalize anything. So it overflows and you overreact. You go crazy. You do things out of character, out of pocket. Your body shuts down. You have a panic attack, anxiety attack. You cry. You cry. You hurt. You're sad. You're walking around sad, even though there's not really, much to be sad about. But it's because you're not dealing with the things that you're going through. You're crying profusely. I was crying profusely, uncontrollably. Tears just flooding on Monday. You know what I'm saying? So I started to realize that, there were times that I wanted to hurt myself, hurt others even. And, those are thoughts that kind of crossed my mind that night. Like I felt like I was about to die. So again, your life kind of flashes. After my visit to the hospital, during my visit to the hospital, I met with the doctor, met with the triage. Like I said, prior to those two meetings, I got my heart checked again and they took blood work. But based on the questions that they asked me and the answers I gave them, they felt like maybe I needed to meet with like a crisis intervention worker. And my entire life, I've been against meeting with anybody. You know what I'm saying? I've been growing up in foster care. That was one of the first things they introduced me to. They were like, you might be angry about things. Why don't you meet with this old white guy in front of you who's in a suit that you can, I don't know, express yourself to. Maybe he'll understand and guide you, but I didn't trust it. I already have my problems with trusting males, and that's based off of many, many things that I've gone through in life. So I've always been against it, but I find myself in this point in time in my life that maybe speaking to someone would be a good idea. I met with the crisis intervention worker. I won't share his details, his name or anything like that, but for the first time I could sit with somebody who had a real understanding of the things that I was going through, and him looking at my life with the things that I shared with him, he was like, bro, you have nothing to worry about. You're okay. But there are things that you need to address. It's like he knew me. It also felt like he had gone through similar things that I had gone through as well. So for him to speak with me came very easy for both of us. He was a gentleman of a different culture, but he had the tattoos, and I was like, a person like that shouldn't have the tattoos that he has, based on his background and stuff like that. I don't want to give too much away, but he was a very unique character, very unique individual that you could tell he kind of went against the grain. You know what I mean? And he took his work very seriously. He took that moment with me very seriously, and he didn't just write referrals down. We had a full-blown conversation about my life in less than an hour. You know what I mean? And he gave me some real good advice, and I hardly take advice. If I seek advice, it's from people that I feel like I could trust and that have my best interest. But without me asking, he gave it. And I took it as the universe speaking to me, because the things that he mentioned were things that I've always wanted to do. Whether it was, going to school, keeping my mind busy with other things. He wanted me to reach out to somebody that he knew, someone who taught him, his mentor. He just cared. And it was from that moment that I realized, I need to start making a change. And I need to start dealing with these things, especially before things start to blow up in my life positively. Whether it's through my art forms, music, family-wise, relationship-wise. You want to make sure that you're ready. And you can't invite anybody new into your life, new opportunities, new anything unless you're ready. And you got to prepare yourself. This is work. Life is work. I look at my 9 to 5 as not just a job. I'm realizing that life is like a job. You got to put in the work in order to see results. Patience. You got to practice patience with yourself. You can't be so hard on yourself. Things that have happened to you have come and gone. We cannot change that, nor can we control it. We also don't know the future. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. But we know right now, and we have an ability to fix the now. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm saying this to say that if you feel like you're at a point in your life that maybe you're not living the way that you truly want to live. Maybe you haven't dealt with things that you've thought you dealt with, but you're really just suppressing everything and ignoring things, like you can't live like that anymore. Living is not that. And if we're going to stay on making room for new, this could be part 4 of the process of making room for new. You have to be able to live now. Live now, live in the now. You know what I'm saying? Like how there will be no new unless you deal with the stuff that you've gone through, the things that you've been really feeling inside in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, deep in your soul, like keeping those things inside is just not healthy. And it'll really mess with your mental and your physical and your emotional and your spiritual. But I tell you guys something, guys and girls. Since this whole situation has happened to me, I've had a different outlook on life, man. I'm seeing things very differently now. I think I'm understanding things very differently now, about myself even. I'm speaking my mind more in just a short period of time. When something like that happens to you, damn, everything just adjusts in the room. All the furniture just moves around a little bit, just a little bit more. And you redecorate, and you just have a better understanding. You see how much space you actually have to play in. And you appreciate things more, and you understand who really loves you, who really cares for you, who has your back, who wants you to survive and be alive and to be here. Life is hard, I know. It's not as easy as 1, 2, 3, ABC. A lot of things that I'm speaking about right now is easier said than done. But don't worry about it being easier said than done. Just focus on it being done. Do it. Do everything in your path that you need to do, in your ability, that you can do in order to live now. You got some emotions, you got some trauma, you got some things that affect you on a day-to-day basis and you don't address it. You have boundaries that people cross on a daily basis and you don't address it. Because why? Because you're afraid. You're afraid of losing somebody. You're afraid of being looked at a certain way. You're afraid of sticking up for yourself. Don't regret anything either. Commend the people that remove themselves from your life. I'm sure you wanted to do it for a very long time, but you just didn't have the guts to do it. So they did it for you. And maybe it didn't go in the way that you wanted it to, but look at your life and how great it's been since they've been gone. You get to create a brand new life now with someone else. New people, new energy, new friends, new girlfriends, new boyfriends. I don't even like those terms, but new people, new women, new men in your life. Your family doesn't necessarily have to be your blood. You could create a family with anybody. Just look at your life, man. Recognize how strong you are, how good you are, how good you've been. And yeah, people have been, kind of raw towards you in your life. Maybe, they've done things to you, said things about you, surprised you with their character. Maybe you've surprised them with your character. We all change. We change based on our environments and the things that we've been through, our experiences. But never regret anything. And don't hate anybody either. Don't get revenge on anybody, because revenge is for the poor person. And I don't mean poor as in like financially. I'm talking about the poor-minded. Something bad happens, someone does something wrong or bad, you don't need to be spiteful. You just keep it moving. The best revenge is success. And you're not being successful for anybody else but yourself. So get revenge on the situation, not on people, you know? Prove to yourself how strong you truly are. I could go on for like an hour because I'm not just speaking with all of you. I'm speaking to myself as well. This is my therapy. You guys know this. This is my therapy as well. I do this for me just as much as I do it for you. I pray that anything and everything that I've said today will resonate with you in some form or fashion. And if there's somebody out there that's going through a similar situation or has been through things that I've been through, go get some support. It doesn't have to be a formal support. You don't have to go see a therapist or a psychiatrist. You could find someone in-house. If there's a family member or a friend that is there for you the way that you need them to be there for you, and they check those boxes for you, go speak with them. But maybe you want to speak with someone that doesn't know you at all. You want to speak to a complete stranger. Go. I'm going to share some resources on the next episode. Once I start digging into my resources on who I'm going to be seeking out for therapy and, help, quote unquote, support, I'm going to be sharing those links and those, what's the word I'm looking for? Resources with all of you. With that said, it is Friday. Go have some fun. I hope I didn't depress all of you today, but I needed to get this off. Make room for new. Get rid of the clutter. Deal with your shit, man. Trust me, you'll be happier once you do. And that's what I'm doing now. I've already started, and I feel very different. I feel new. I feel like I can live and breathe again. And I want that for everybody. Even my enemies. Even the people that have done wrong to me. Even the people that have disappointed me. Everyone deserves to live. Live now. Be free. And I'll check in with you guys next week. The goal is to have a guest on the show next week, so I'll follow up. I'll probably announce it online. So follow Who How Club on all social media platforms. WhoHowClub.com. It's your boy, Only One Arys, on all social media platforms, and ArysDejan.com is the website. Just check in with me, man. Send me an email, DM me, and let's talk. All right? It's been good. Have a great day. You are the Who and How. I am the Who and How. We are the Who and How Club. And we are the who's and how's of the world. Remember that. All right? 1.